Hello and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So today we're taking a look at the Veteran. In my line of updating all the builds, the Veteran is next. So let's jump in and have a look. So, weapon setup. I have not acquired any of the shock mauls yet, but as soon as I do, all of the builds will be updated to work with the shock mauls, but until then, we're using what we've got. And this is generally my favourite setup. I'm a massive fan of the Recon Lasgun. It's just a really nice, fast weapon. You can use to hose down basically anything with this build. You can hose down crushers and bosses with this. And for the melee weapon, we are still using the Acadia Mark 13G Assault Chainsword. And we're using Flak and Specialist on it, but you generally want Flak and Maniac or Flak and Carapace. And for the blessings, we're using Savage Sweep and Rampage, which is going to let us go absolutely ham inside of big hordes of Poxwalkers, random trash, cultists, all of that. This is just going to give us huge amounts of cleave and damage. And then we're going to come down here to the Curios. These also need to be slightly changed, so do listen up while I go over these. So on the Curios, I'm using 2 toughness and 1 health. But what I need to do is drop probably the combat ability regeneration for damage reduction from gunners. So you want 2 damage reduction from gunners and 1 from snipers. And combat ability regeneration is usually the thing that's going to get dropped because we want the toughness regeneration and the max health and or toughness. So you want 2 damage resistant gunners and 1 for snipers, or you can go all 3 for gunners and just hope to hell you never get hit by a sniper. It's really up to you for that bit. And for the Recon Lasgun, we are using Maniac and Carapace for the perks. I could switch one of those off for Flak, but this build doesn't have much problem getting through Flak at all. I prefer it as is, because the increased Carapace damage does let us just hose down Maulers and Crushers. And the blessings are pretty much how they have to be with Headhunter and Infernus. Headhunter is going to give us that massive amount of crit to work with, and Infernus is just going to be dropping burning stacks every time we crit, which is going to be a lot. So that is how we set up the weapon. And let's have a look at the talents. So first of all, we're going to be grabbing Longshot to deal up to 20% range-based damage bonus is reduced the nearer the target is. So long-range targets are going to take more damage. Close Order Drill, up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies in coherency. This is a voice of command build, and you're going to be helping your team with defense and just trying to keep everything going. Next up, we've got Confirmed Kill, replenish 10% toughness on elite or specialist enemy kill, and a further 20% toughness over 10 seconds. This is just to keep us up and running the entire time. The more you kill, the more toughness you replenish. And then we're growing down here. We don't really want the stamina, but we have to use it to get through these nodes. And we're going to be picking up the Shredder Frag Grenade. This is also going to help the team just dealing with big hordes. Because at the moment, a lot of the people are running heavy target damage builds, like the Ogryns with the pickaxes and so on and so forth. So that sort of frees us up to move from the Crack Grenade to the Frag Grenade to help deal with just massive hordes. And you come down here to get back in the fight. Stun immunity, slow immunity for 6 seconds, and restores 50% stamina when your toughness is broken. This is just to help us not die, basically. And Survivalist, replenish 1% ammo for you and your allies in coherency whenever any of you kill an elite or special enemy. This can only occur once every 5 seconds. This is really needed, especially with the Recon Lasgun, because that thing is an absolute hose for ammunition. You will be spending it faster than you can regain it. So this is just going to help us with that. And then we're going to be coming over here, grabbing the reload speed boost, then the toughness damage reduction. We're going to be grabbing demolition stockpile. This is just going to keep us in grenades all the time, and it's going to sort of allow us to not have to rush with the team to grab grenades. And of course, voice of command, the keystone of this build. Staggers and replenishes toughness. It's awesome. Duty and Honor now also provides you and your allies coherency with a plus 50 toughness for 15 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness, so this is just a big defense boost for everyone. And then we're going to jump over here on the left for the range damage boost for damage. And then weak spot damage. We're going to be aiming for the face pretty much the entire time, because we want that extra damage. Then fully loaded for extra ammo. Superiority complex for 15% base damage against all elites. And we're taking shock trooper just to try and patch that massive leak of ammo. This is, I mean, you can get rid of this node if you want to, but I would highly suggest not. If you wanted to, you can drop shock trooper for charismatic to increase your aura to help a bit more. But if you're using the recon lasgun, shock trooper is kind of a must take. And then here we're going into the middle for the Emperor. Your combat ability gives you and your allies a coherency of 10% melee base damage and 10% range base damage for 5 seconds. So every time you use voice of command, you're increasing everyone's damage. Tactical awareness cooldown, combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. This is why we can drop that off of the Curios for gunner damage reduction or sniper damage reduction. This node here. I mean, with them on the Curios, it's very quick, but if you're wanting to push past damnation into Uruk and all that sort of thing, you want the damage resistance from gunners and snipers. Then we're going to be grabbing Iron Will, plus 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. Again, this is just shoring up our defenses. Going to come here, grab the toughness, and then bring it down. 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. Again, just a nice big fat damage boost. Rending gives 10% rending to all weapons, and basically how rending works out now, the mathematic formula for it is almost exactly 1 point of rending equals 1% damage. Almost exactly. There is a little bit more to it, but you can just think of rending as 1% equals 1% damage. And this is for all weapons. And just sort of a quick FYI, so if you did go into Onslaught, which I wouldn't suggest of this build, but if you did, the target applies 2.5% brittleness for 5 seconds to the target, stacked 16 times. Brittleness is basically rending, but for the entire party. Sorry about that, folks. There was a little interruption in the video there as OBS went slightly insane. So, we were talking about Onslaught and brittleness. Right. I got this wrong in a video I did a while back, but I've got the actual proper information for brittleness. So brittleness is a debuff applied to the enemy, whereas rending is applied to your character. So you can see this in the Psychonarium. So if you have a brittleness passive on either a weapon or on your skill tree, you can see that the Crusher Ogryn will go from Carapace to Flak as you apply the debuff. And basically, if you want the actual definition for it, brittleness is a debuff on an enemy that increases the damage multiplier against said enemy. And it is group-wide. So, as I said, rending does the same thing, but it is only applied to your character. But to get down here to the brittleness debuff, we would have to dump out a lot of things that are incredibly necessary for this build. So, that's how the build works. Let's see some of the things that you need to be doing with it. So, voice of command build with, I've forgotten the bloody name of the passive, focus target, there we are. Voice command with focus target. Everything you're attacking, you need to be tagging. Tagging is how you get incredible amounts of damage, toughness, and all that sort of thing. And as we're up to 8 stacks, as you can see here, down the bottom, 6, 7, and then when it hits 8, that's applied that to the target. You don't have to wait till 8 stacks, you just keep tagging. But it is better to wait for 8 because it is then applied. Every time you tag something, however many stacks you have down in your buff bar is how many that is applied to the target. But in fast-paced games, obviously, you're not going to wait, go, oh, I'm just going to sit here until it gets to 8 again. No, just tag everything continuously. And then when you get a bit of a break, you can let it bank up again. But as you can see, especially with the ammo down there on the right, every time you crit, it doesn't use a shot. So you're not going to be scabbing ammo from everyone like you would be if you didn't have the shock trooper buff. But always make sure you are tagging, hitting your F button. That is going to boost everyone in your team, boost you, and just allow you to do very, very silly damage. And this is also why I love the Recon Lasgun. It has a very high magazine, and when you've built it properly, you can just hose down everything in front of you. As for the chainsword, well, works like a chainsaw. Rev it up if you want to kill something heavy. Or just keep light swinging for hordes, and this is how you're going to get the Savage Sweeps and Rampage running. Most of you will know this, but you know, the players who are very new to the game, there you go. That is the newest build for my Voice of Command. Now, there is one last thing. I know this video's gone on for a bit. If you wanted to use this build with a plasma gun, it's very, very, very easy for you to switch over to using plasma instead of the Recon Lasgun, or say one of the other auto guns. All you have to do is you come down here, you take out Shock Trooper, and you put it into Charismatic Aura. And now this build is ready to be played with a plasma gun. That's all you have to do. And this is one of the strongest builds I've found for plasma gun usage. But I do prefer using the Recon Lasgun. I like the fast-paced gameplay, and I find the plasma gun a bit clunky. But it is a very good weapon, so if that's what you want, take out Shock Trooper, and put it in Charismatic, which just increases your aura and makes your team better off. But there you go. That's how this works. I do hope you have enjoyed the guide, and if you have, please like, subscribe, ring that little bell for notifications. It really does help us out. If you have any suggestions of how to change the guide, make it a bit better, please do let me know. I'm always open to comments and advice. Anyway, enjoy, folks, and I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, see you later and take it easy.